What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. Here it is. Out of all the things we bought in Daytona Beach, this car right here is definitely the belle of the ball. Did score a nice 250 and a few others, but this right here is one of those cars that just takes you back instantly. My mind just rushes with memories about cars like this. And just most things in general, but this car, of course, is a 7-Up edition. They made 1,365 speeds out of 128,000 units in 1990. So it's a pretty rare car. Pretty desirable. Of course, you know, emerald green, white leather guts, white top. 15-inch turbine wheels. When's the last time you've seen a set of these turbine wheels? I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you the last time I didn't see a set that hadn't been bead locked yet for a set of slicks where we run screws through them. That's what we did with these wheels because everybody wanted ponies. And they're perfect. The interior's perfect. 73,000 one owner miles. Carfax, perfect. Love this thing. We picked up Daytona, actually bought it on Thanksgiving Day. Picked up old douchebag Matt at the airport, right there at Daytona International. Picked him up at the airport, top down, jumps in the back, 3 douchebags riding around in a 5-liter Mustang in Daytona Beach. What can go wrong? We had a blast. We drove this thing to Land, Florida, which is known for 2 things, the Stockyard Steakhouse and the big-ass prison they got down there. We learned that. Food was great. Didn't get in no trouble, so we didn't get to check out the prison. We cruised this thing A1A, had an absolute blast in it. It got me thinking, and I could bore you with stats on this. You know, this car right here literally is basically a figment of your imagination right now because I won't tell you something. It's not sold yet because I haven't listed it, but I say by the time this video drops, it'll have a new owner. It's an absolute time capsule. The car runs and drives out great. It's bone stock other than a set of Flowmasters. I love it. Like, it's just the perfect cruiser. Everything's tight. It's a T5 that doesn't pop out of second gear, and it's quiet. Everything works as it should. Power top. The original top is perfect on it. The original tonneau cover for the top is in the back, still sealed in the bag, never been opened, along with the original owner's manual, window sticker, instructions on putting the top back. Everything is all in plastic still back there. I absolutely love the car. This isn't your run-of-the-mill pony car. This is a collector quality car by far. And I love cars in this mileage range, that 50 to 70, 80,000 miles, because they're still low mile desirable cars, but you're not scared to drive it. You know, you buy that 10,000 mile car, that, you know, whatever car that's really super low miles, you're not gonna want to drive it. And what do? You let it sit in the back of your garage and forget about it, which I do anyway because I got too many cars. But anyway, but that's what you do. You're never going to enjoy it. This, you jump out and enjoy it. We had a ball, and everybody and their brother, 7-Up car, look at that 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 douchebag in the back. Had to get you, Matt. Anyway, we had a blast in it. Like I said, somebody's going to love this thing. But you're talking about Mustang memories. I mean, this thing literally took us back. Cruising A1A. It was Thanksgiving, so the pretty girls walking around. It wasn't spring break, but still, it was fun. Good crowd down there. Had a blast. And it takes you back. And then you go to get out of the car, you feel your knees popping, and like you grunt. I can't get out of this car, not grunt. I don't know what it is, but I guess I'm just getting old. Speaking of getting old, and how these cars will bring back your youth. I had a really good friend. I've never told this story before. And actually, one of my guys at the shop reminded me of it. At the diesel truck shop, way back in the day, I'm talking about, I was probably 19, 20. And, you know, I had my SN95 drop top convertible, triple black, that I loved. All tricked out, custom paint, you know, shaved door handles, torque thrust wheels, cow hood, bunch of bolt-on mods, 14 gear, yada, 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 a little bit of nitrous. You know, that was my baby. And, you know, I had, you know, all those trick little accessories you could buy. There was a company, I'm trying to remember the name, I think it was like UPR or something, but they made actually where you could replace the power window switches with like the billet versions of them. So I had all the billet switches and billet knobs and covers and whatnot. And I was at the truck shop helping Dad out. We had a vendor that we dealt with called Greenville Diesel, and that's just a local place. And they actually built diesel injection pumps and injectors years and years ago. You know, the local company, and back when actual diesel engines actually had injection pumps on them, weren't common rail like they are now. You know, and I've dealt with this guy, and the guy that owned it, his name was Tony. And Tony was a dead ringer for Nicolas Cage. Like literally the spitting image of Nicolas Cage. I mean, always kind of got that 5 o'clock shadow kind of thing going, and the hair. Matter of fact, I called him Nick all the time. He was that guy. He's probably mid-40s. And he had a 944 Porsche that was his baby. It was immaculate, jet black. I'll never forget, I drove my Mustang, because I didn't want to drive a service truck, to go pick up a set of injectors. You know, they were in a box. I drove up to Greenville Diesel, which is right off Pelham Road, right here in Greenville, South Carolina. And I drove a little 5-liter Mustang in, boop, 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 top down. Boy, he walks out that glass door and he goes, "Man, that's a badass little car." He said, "Yeah, that's yours?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I didn't know you had a Mustang like this." And he's just walking around, and he was all over himself, you know. And we've never talked about cars in the past like that. You know, he'd tell me, like, "Oh, I cleaned the Porsche up this weekend or something." And I always figured he was that guy. But he was just going ape shit over my little Mustang and all the little touches. And he was just like, "Man, I love this car." He goes, "You think you can take me up the road in it?" I said, "Sure." Hell, he just locks the front door. He hops in the car. I didn't even got the parts yet. My dad's wondering where the hell I'm at. So hell, we take off down Pelham Road, and back then, literally Pelham Road, the end he was on was nothing. Now it's all built up. But you know, we took off, and you know, I busted an ass a few times. He's like, "Heck yeah, this thing's got some get up." And I was telling him about all my hop up parts and how fast I thought it was and all this stuff. And times have changed. So he loved this Mustang. I mean, he was smiling ear to ear. Me and old Nicolas Cage whipped her back in Greenville Diesel. He unlocked the door, got my parts, got my injectors. And you know, Dad's blowing my phone up. "Where the hell are you at? Where the hell are you at?" You know, it's back before you could send texts, kids. This was a long time ago. So I called him back and told him, "Get your ass back." I figured a piece of shit Mustang done broke down or something. Got back, and I was telling him about how Tony was just making over my car. Because, I mean, it's cool when somebody's excited about your ride. And I remember, you know, talking to the tech that reminded me of the story. He was there then, and telling him about it and all that stuff. About 2 weeks later, Tony calls the shop. He goes, "Hey, Rob, you at the shop?" I'm like, obviously I answered the phone. He goes, "I'm gonna come by and see you. You got that little Mustang with you?" And I said, "Yes, sir." Drove to the shop. About an hour later, he comes pulling up in a 96 Mystic Cobra. I heard him when he pulled up. This ain't no just stock 4.6 dual cam. It was supercharged. I bought this car in Savannah, Georgia, and it was all tricked out, and it had all this custom work done to it. You know, of course, the Mystic paint, and it had chrome Cobra R's on it. And it was lowered, and he was ecstatic. And I was ecstatic for him. It was a badass car. You know, this is back before we do 4.6 sucked. You know, like he was all about this Mustang. And every weekend, you know, he'd call me up. "Where's everybody hanging out at this weekend?" Next thing you know, he's running with the Mustang guys. Now keep in mind, I'm 20. He's 45. This dude's older to be my dad. You know, every single dude, no kids. You know, he's going out to the meets. And I mean, it's a badass car. So obviously got a lot of attention, you know, and especially, you know, us, we're all broker and shit, you know, and I mean, you know, so he showed up, and he was, you know, stealing the show every time he rolled up, and next thing you know, he was taking it to car shows, and I mean, just smiling here. I've never seen this guy at a car show. I've never heard him say anything other than cleaning up that damn 4-cylinder Porsche. That's all I've ever heard him talk about. You know, nothing, anything. Now he's like a totally different guy. He's got his Ford hat on, you know, he's got his, you know, SVT shirt on. He's that guy, you know, and, you know, got the show board, and, you know, this is before social media and stuff like that, but like, you know, he's showing you pictures of the car, like 4x6s, you know, he printed off at the drugstore. I mean, this guy was so ecstatic about his car, and he loved it. And I mean, it's crazy. My little bent up salvage title fixed Mustang that we fixed up. I mean, it was literally a poor boy project all the way across. Bits and pieces, you know, I mean, with a super slick paint job and a lot of elbow grease in it. This dude done went and bought a $30,000 car because of my $10,000 one, you know, but absolutely loved it. And he was ecstatic about it. He had that Mustang for years, like 3 years. I mean, every spring, every summer, he was out in it, constantly doing something to it. I never forget, he got on a kick. Everything under the hood was polished. You know, big Cobra intake, it was all polished, and supercharger. I think I already had a polished supercharger, so he wanted it all to match. He was all about it. Like, he loved that thing. Never took a drag strip or anything like that. It was just always that show staying, you know. And I mean, he was just so excited about it. And it turned off cold. And then keep in mind, you know, I'd done got married since then, and you know, I was off doing kind of my other things, so I wasn't at the shop that much. And I got a phone call from my dad. And my dad calls me every day. But I got a phone call kind of an odd time. And he goes, Tony died. I said, what? Tony? He said, Greenville Diesel Tony. I'm like, what happened to him? Had an aneurysm, died in his sleep. You know, I was literally talking to him the week before about going to Fun Ford Weekend with his car. He'd never been. On one hand, I mean, I'm sad to see him go. He's a cool guy. On the other hand, that dude died happy. Like, he was ecstatic about that car. It went from a Porsche, every once in a while he'd tell you he'd washed it or whatever, cleaned it up, to every other word out of his mouth was Mustang, Cobra, supercharger, chrome, polished. Mustang, Cobra. I love how the car bug attacks people. It's crazy. You know, this dude didn't have any kids or anything like that. And the car actually, one of his family members ended up with it and they kept it. And to my knowledge, they still have it to this day. So, old Mustang, hopefully they take it to some car shows for old Tony. Guys, we'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars. Hey, is it because it's plugged into the wrong hole? And just, I mean, at Nicolas Cage. I say this now, I'm thinking like, I took this man up the road in a car that I said was fast, was probably on the squeeze. I think she ended a little better.
What you got?
I don't know, I'm thinking.
I thought it was all right.
You're naming for all right. Naming for perfection.